Hey there, this is Yoshi. This video is another care collab, and this is about Zygo hybrids. Just in Zygos in general, I guess. I just made a Zygo Nisia Murasaki the other day, but this is particularly in general Zygos. So the care club is the bunch of YouTubers get together and then show the people how each one of us grow the orchids or type of orchids, and each one of us have a different condition, and you kind of take a look each one of us, and then hopefully you will find some suited situation for you and use it as a reference. And remember, it is still your own condition, so it might not be necessarily exactly the same, and depends on what you're getting taught. If you have any mentors, like I have a mentors in Orchid Society, Northwest Orchid Society and whatnot, and they also have their own idea about how to grow each orchid. So yeah, it's your own condition, it's your own care, but then we can somehow help you as a reference, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the whole idea of a care collab. We're kind of linked together by hashtag care collab, as you can see on the title or description. This time we're teamed up with Nina from Ninja Orchids, Michelle from Michelle Life on Repeat, Jess from Attainable Green, and I don't know who this one is. This is a new one for me, and which is very exciting. Now I get to check this channel too. But Orchids and Fimbos, and I will put each video's description. What am I saying? I will put each videos in the link in description below. Anyways, so where I live in Lake Stevens in Washington State. It's 8B, zone 8B, if that makes sense. I have pretty vivid 4 seasons. Pretty mild, I would say. I don't have a severe snow. Well, we just had a snowstorm, but I mean, we don't have a severe winter. That's what I wanted to say. Or a severe summer. So like a summertime, we're looking at 90, right on 90 or higher up. 80s will be the highest ever it will get here. And maybe a little bit lower than 32. Upper 20s would be the lowest for maybe a few days. Usually right around 35, 33, something like that. And pretty cloudy and rainy in wintertime. So that's where I live. But they live in a greenhouse. I set my temperature to 70. So in the wintertime, in the reality, it goes down to like 60, lower 60, sometimes below 60, and basically here's on all the time trying to catch up on it. That's the nighttime temperature, and daytime will be hopefully set at 70. But a nice day like this, yeah, there's a backlight for you. Then temperature goes up easily to like 80s, 90s in this greenhouse. And so when the heater is on, it's a, what do you call it? Forced air heater type electric. So the air is on, obviously. I have 2 heaters. To the entrance to the back end, and so air is coming in. It's not too strong, but air is moving, is what I want to say. And then when it goes over 70, then the actual fan on the top starts on, and now it's two fans are on. One fan is on all the time, and the other one is on at over 70 to make it a little cooler, started to cool down, something like that. And airflow is pretty important to any orchids, so that's a part of the reason why. And this is plastic shelves, and it sits on the lowest spot because they like somewhat intermediate, not too hot, not too cold, even though it can take lower temperature, but it's happy at intermediate. So I'm shooting about 65 to 75, maybe lower than 65 actually, but that's where they're happy at. Most of them are semi-terrestrial, so they like somewhat water retentive media. But what I really started using is Orchid Bark mix from Home Depot. They have a Miracle Grow. I don't know why that's the only spot I can get, but it is what it is. It says Orchid Bark, but it's kind of have a soil in it. I don't know why, but in the flip side, I think it's a perfect for Zygo because it's well drained, number one, but number two, it actually holds pretty good amount of moisture for a longer time than regular bark. So that's in it, and they seem to like it. So yeah, when I this one doesn't have it yet, but it's about maybe not. I reported it in July 20. Also, it probably has the Miracle Grow Orchid Bark in it, and this one for sure does too. This one, no, this one doesn't have one, but it's got a sphagnum moss in it for extra moisture hold. So the Zygo hybrids, that's what we're talking about, right? Are we? Yeah. We made Zygonesia Murasaki Komachi a month ago, maybe, or something like that. The care is somewhat similar. I mean, they're all zygos pretty much, but they like medias moist, not damp, but moist. Like I said, it's a semi-terrestrial, so they like constant moist in their media. But that's being said, it's in pretty much in winter time. That's a totally different story because especially if your situation's lower, you don't lower temperature, then you don't want to keep it wet because cold and wet equals rot. So it's not even root rot, but it will give you a suitable rotted away, which happens a lot to me. That's a part of the problem I have for zygos. But I water probably in this greenhouse probably almost every day. I said probably because we just moved into this location last year, and I was growing pretty much all the orchids outside last year, and this will be first year in to grow them in a greenhouse in grow season. Yeah, I'm assuming it's gonna be a lot of watering almost every day, per pretty much all the orchids too. And I believe in weekly fertilizing. I use rainwater because I have lots of resource from rain. You know, Seattle area, guess what? We get a lot of rain, and which is 100% truth. And so our rain barrel is constantly full. So that's what I use. It's about 5-6 in the TDS meter. So I keep my water in about 100 parts per million. If you don't know that, you should get a TDS meter, especially you're getting into orchids hobby and getting a little serious about it. You should watch how much you're giving a fertilizer in the water. I keep it around 100, and I don't flush. I keep using the same water, same strength. And if you think about it, a lot of people in a YouTube video, they flush with the tap water, which is what, 300, 500, sometimes 700 tap water. And I'm sure a lot of places like somewhere in New York, somewhere in California have a hard water, and their parts per million would be 300, 500, I don't know. But yeah, compared to that, our tap water is actually about 30 and below, so I could use that too. But mainly I'm using rainwater to save money. That's pretty much it. I could use my tap water. Anyways, yeah, probably once a week, twice a week in the greenhouse in the wintertime. Believe me or not, it will need a lot of watering than I thought it would be this season. That's what I learned. Probably because of the air movement and the temperature is above 60 all the time. So I think the water dries out pretty quick. So yeah, about once or twice a week in the wintertime, whenever it looks like it's dry, basically. But yeah, you want to keep it drier than wet, that's for sure, in the wintertime. And the summertime, like I said, it's gonna be probably every day, I'm assuming. And with a constant weak fertilizer. Fred Clark had talk about how he waters all the orchids, and that's how he waters it. He doesn't ever use regular RO water or anything. He uses tap water at 100 parts per million worth of food in it, and then that's how he waters. And that's what I do too. I mean, it's easy, it's simple. I use same water to all the other orchids. I don't do any fancy kelp or whatever, super thrive or whatever. I don't do any of that. I can't count how many orchids I have, and I just can't make a difference per each orchids. I do put the slow release, what do you call it, osmocote to some orchids needs a higher feed, but the water is the same. And now it's been said that those, I don't really feed them a lot. I don't put any slow release fertilizer or whatever. I just use the 100 parts per million water. That's all. So that's watering and the fertilizing and lighting. It's eastern side of, well, eastern side, that sounds weird. Forgive me, I'm Japanese. But it's on east side, so it gets pretty bright light as far as around this season. Of course, in the winter, we just have no choice. I don't have any extra lighting or whatnot in this greenhouse. It's facing south, so you know, whatever it gets. So this season though, yeah, I have a shading net up here, as you can see. This is the lowest shelf, and so for the few hours in the morning, it gets a pretty good amount of sunlight. Pretty much all the orchids can take a few hours of sunlight in as far as morning wise, and that's what it gets. It doesn't get burned really. You don't want to put it in a higher light though, like when it's in a hot day and then you get sunlight that's calling a disaster. You want to keep it in shade, but morning light, maybe a few hours to begin with, that's probably a good thing, I think. But yeah, in any case, I was putting this in indoor, thinking it's a lower light level requirement. But then I got a suggestion on lighting from one of my subscribers. So that's when I moved them to all the Zygo types to a greenhouse. He also mentioned that greenhouse will be the most best condition you could give to Zygos, is what he said. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. And that was when was that? Probably in the winter time, probably January. And so far so good. Now Zygos, there are so many hybrids out there, and there are so many no IDs also. And most of the times I see them at Trader Joe's, Fred Meyer, Safeway. I think they're all coming from Matsui or something from Hawaii, and there's no IDs on it. This one, yeah, no ID. Got it from Fred Meyer as a rescue. I didn't even get to really enjoy the bloom yet, and after that, I think it's been 2 years plus. It's one of the oldest non-foul orchids I got, and yeah, it hasn't rebloomed yet, but it's a hybrid, no ID. It's not dead yet. It's, as you can see, I have a cosmetic damage, and I don't know how to stop this. I have these black dots everywhere, and I cannot stop that either. This is a new growth, and I think I didn't give enough water. That's what happens to these kind of a shape of a leaf. That's what it means. And so that's why I needed to move it to greenhouse and get a pretty good amount of water. And this one has ID. It's from Olympic Orchids, Zygo Pabusia Dragon Kitten Par. I grow it from a seedling, and it bloomed last year. Then my middle one, he had a nunchuck and played around the bloom and snap off very cleanly only the bloom. After 2 days of the bloom, we did have really loud discussion about this. Don't worry, he's still alive. But yeah, lost all the leaves after the bloom. I don't know what happened, but it also lost the pseudobulb after the bloom, and then I cut them, rotted, so I cut them and put the cinnamon, and it stopped it. Then I thought I was gonna join I Kill Zygo Club along with that, but then shoot out the new growth here, and there's another one, if you can see here. So I think it's not dead yet. This is a new acquisition. This one doesn't have roots, so this is like a seriously in a rescue mode. And then I doubt it's gonna make it. But this is a Zygo Rain Moonlight Cross Blue Eyes. I have no idea what it looks like as far as the bloom goes. Those are rescues. I have the other two for sale. I sell orchids on eBay. I don't really advertise it, but it's in my link. Wait, is it called advertisement? Anyways, yeah, so those are rescue mode. I don't know if those two is gonna make it or not. I already looked at the roots, and this one has a decent roots, so maybe, but this one didn't have much roots and ongoing, so hopefully we'll make it. But anyways, I have a problem. It's not dying, Really? But those, like I said, those black spots, I don't know how to stop it. It's some sort of a fungus. I guess I have to put fungicide or something. I don't know. I'm not really into fungicide use, unless I really have to. Some oncidiums just tend to have those spots, so it's probably because of a water still left over and never dries out in time or something. I don't know. As long as it's not dead, I don't really care much. Maybe I should have said that, but yeah, I mean, as long as it's alive and keep going, then I don't really put too much care for it. I guess it would be different if you want to put it in a competition or something, but then this one looks pretty good. They all do fine right after I put it in a greenhouse. I've been looking at the difference, and I think greenhouse is a go, as far as I can tell. They're growing really well, so I'm happy with where it lives right now. So anyways, oh wow, 20 minutes. I love Zygos. I want more. I was hesitant before because of the space. It can grow pretty big, unless you want to divide, but I don't really like to divide things. So but being said that, it gets bigger. The Murasaki I have two, but they're taking a lot of space. But besides that, they're wonderful. They're fragrant. The shape is very unique. Once you see Zygo's bloom, you can tell if it's Zygo or not. It's that unique. And the fragrance varies, but most of the time smells like rose, as far as I know. So if you like rose fragrance, it's definitely strongly recommended. So anyways, I talked too long, 22 minutes. Oh my goodness, sorry. And hopefully somebody will see it and then use it as a reference. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have one and you make a video, let's team up. Nina is usually the one who's organizing this, and watch her video. She has email in her link. Shoot her up and get linked and put some update on that. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.